Hey everybody, it's Boss Bureau Radio. I am Griffin Hoffman, and with me is...
I'm Jeff Brewer. What's up?
And I am Jamie Scherer. How's it going?
Hey guys, happy holidays.
Whoa. What did you just say? Happy Holy Days?
I did, yeah.
Have the holidays put you into a holidays?
Certainly. I missed all the Black Friday deals.
You know what I'm sad about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, were there Black Friday deals? I feel like I've just been very tired for the past few days.
Yeah.
And I told myself I was going to look at stores at midnight, and then I hadn't done any work. Like, I hadn't gone to the websites that were like, you want the best Black Friday deals? And so I just went to Amazon at midnight, and I was like, I don't know. And then I went to bed.
I feel like COVID Black Friday deals, but also just the last couple of years, I feel like it's been like, do you want a smart speaker? Do you want a smart speaker? And then that's it.
Did you not
That's
get
the
your
only-
Google Home Mini? Get a free Google Home Mini with your HD television.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get a $100 Dell gift card if you buy a $5,000 OLED.
You guys do Small Business Saturday?
Is that real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Followed by Sex Swing Sunday?
Every day is Sex Swing Sunday in the Brewer household.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful that the deals will just be like ongoing, so I can look at them when I have enough bodily energy to partake in the internet.
Yeah, I think we need more than deals right now. We just need shit in stock, because you can't
exactly.
buy
That's what I was gonna
anything.
say.
Yep.
Yeah, like
I
literally
agree.
anything.
Yeah.
It takes days and days of work to obtain anything.
After poo-pooing the next gen consoles in a now deleted podcast, I have signed up for PS5 in stock alerts on Twitter, but that's as far as I'm willing to go.
That's
From
not bad.
Wario?
No, not from Wario. I just searched PS5 and went to the first result, which just said PS5 in stock alerts. So far, they've notified me about the Xbox Series X being in stock, so I feel like I'm doing it right.
Okay.
So the only way that I've gotten anything recently is through Wario 64 and his links specifically. And so what I'll do is I'll turn on notifications just for him, and if he tweets something out with a link, that's how I've gotten both of my consoles, and it's like the only way. And I'm like one of those crazy people. I'm ready right at the time. I got like 30 browser tabs open. I got my iPad going. I got my phone going. Got multiple devices. I'm signed in on all of the stores. I'm ready to go. Payment options are updated. I cannot get and I have great internet. I'm close to my like one of my ISP centers, and I just can't get anything. So I feel like Wario is my saving grace.
My sister's husband, who works for a like very competitive tech firm, was like, I want to get a PS5, but just to scalp it.
Oh,
like,
no!
Why? Why do you make thousands of dollars every week, you madman?
Oh my god.
So, Jamie, you have both consoles. Jeff mentioned a podcast that now is in the ether thanks to my hard drive problems.
It's been reclaimed by the digital.
Yeah, the Angels share.
Tim Apple took it back.
So you managed to secure the new consoles, and I guess I'm gonna be interested in your impressions on them, since last time we talked you were very, very positive about them. How is it shaken out in real life?
I think they are great, and I think that they're great for me. And I and I worry about people's experiences with them at large. I think that for most people, regardless of which one they pick up, they'll have a great experience and things will work. If they don't work, I think that there are a lot of things online, resources online, where people are having a lot of the same problems, and hopefully they can get fixed. But I think for the most part, long story short, even with the Xbox Series X, when you open that thing up and you plug it in, it feels new. It feels awesome. It feels like the start of a new generation, and they both do things great. And I think with the PS5, that feeling is just completely amplified. In fact, I think that when I'm using the PS5, it feels and I did not expect to feel this way, because even though, yes, I'm bullish on these systems, I totally agree that this is almost like an iterative leap. It's almost like this is the PlayStation Pro. You know, I was ready for that type of experience, but no, everything on the PS5 feels like the start of something truly new and awesome. And I don't think that you guys should sleep on getting one, because there's already a ton of awesome stuff for it. But yeah, that's my big takeaway, is that they're both really good. And obviously I will tell you guys all about the issues with both of them.
How much have you enjoyed playing Xbox One games on the Xbox Series X?
I played
Gears
Fusion
5 has never looked better.
I played Fusion Frenzy because I actually love that game. That was great. I found a even though I have the Master Chief Collection because I have Game Pass, I found an old scratched up disc of Halo 2 just loose in my basement.
And you put it in there?
Yeah.
Sullied your device?
Totally great. Works totally awesome.
Fun fact, looks better than Halo Infinite.
They took Craig, the alien, and they put him in Halo 2.
Craig the Banished?
Craig the Banished. They put him in Halo 2. Now every enemy is Craig.
Now their death clips are just the Banished.
Oh man. But I'll walk you guys briefly through my experience with both of them, and stop me. And
before you do that, can I just note that Jamie's made some notes on the document that we're all using to do this podcast, and his first note is, everyone will be happy.
My second note is get a bundle, which is the only way that I got
Jamie,
these.
Are you getting
bundled.
commission from GameStop?
Yeah, actually, Reggie is actually standing behind me with a gun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it him or is it the Fisa Mac?
Was he part of the bundle?
It's hard to tell. Yes.
The love bundle.
Is your body ready for the PS5?
He says he's shaking his head. No, it's
Go
not.
on, Jamie. Sorry for interrupting.
No.
But you're saying, so wait. Just back up to that statement. Get a bundle. Not get a bundle because you need to, but because it's the only way to get a system, because nothing is available right now.
Exactly. If you
also, the value is unbeatable. Power to the players.
Yeah, I mean, do you want a disc copy of a game that you get for free with Game Pass? If so,
I think my Game
bundle,
Informer subscription has lapsed.
So is every employee who worked there.
Oh,
nice. So I got a in my Xbox bundle, I got a copy of Gears Tactics, which I was like, well, this is on Game Pass, so I don't need this, and I'll just sell this. I'll go to GameStop and I'll sell this. And then I went on the internet, and based on forums, people are either getting in the range of $5 for their Gears Tactics trade-in, or the GameStop is just not accepting it because I guess this is happening to everyone. So apparently GameStops from now on are just going to be piles of Funko Pops and Gears Tactics. So there's that.
Wasn't there a Gears Funko game?
Yep, there was.
Gears Pop.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, I platinumed that game. Yeah.
Wait.
No.
Was that one of the conditions of your hire at GameStop?
Exactly.
If you want to earn this $7.50 an hour, you better really show your code.
Do you want a key to the store?
Which, by the way, is open during COVID.
Show me your gamer score. Also, yeah, no hazard pay.
Yeah. And it was weird. The training video was like 15 minutes of how to use the register, and then like 30 minutes of COVID isn't real. It was very bizarre.
Also, that's impossible because I did work at a GameStop and there's no fucking training video.
The training is that the large man who is a petty dictator just talks to you about how much he wants to bang various women.
But wait, I'm so curious about this, Griff, just real quick. So literally no training video, like not even, this is the register. Like,
well,
nothing?
Okay, granted, this was closer to 20 years now. So, hey, maybe they changed as they eliminated all the Babbages and software, etc., cruff that came along with that, and they've really implemented some GameStop videos. I guess when I worked for Blockbuster, there was training videos, but that was all just sexual harassment stuff. But no, GameStop, no training. It was, here's how you use the register by standing next to it, and then the guy being like, let me tell you about how good Guilty Gear is.
Quick question. Did you have to rent the training videos on VHS?
No, we had open copies that we could just steal out of and then bring them back and charge them for full price.
Containers?
That's amazing.
We rented them from Netflix or from Redboxes. Yep.
I haven't seen a Redbox lately.
They don't do games anymore.
I think they might. Well, I imagine the pandemic has not been kind to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway, so you were talking about them new consoles.
Yes.
Tell us your thoughts. Tell us
which one's better?
So I'll talk about setting him up because I feel like that's an experience with both of them. So, something that lots of people are going to do for sure is use the HDMI cable that came with their old system, which will lead to a decrease in fidelity that 95% of people won't notice. But it will also prevent the consoles from doing certain things, which they may notice. So it will lead to a decrease in visual fidelity that no one will notice, and also it'll make people confused because the console is saying it can't do certain things. So that's the first thing. You have to use with both of them the HDMI cables that come with them, or you have to have a HDMI cable that is HDMI 2.1 certified, which is made by all of one company now on Amazon called Zeskit, which I've never heard of before.
Sounds legit.
But I bought one because the cable that comes with the PS5 is like literally 2 centimeters long. And even though my PS5 is directly below my television, I could not make it work the way I have the cables routed. So I had to...
I expected you to just bolt that thing to the back.
Yeah, well, also, yeah, the console itself is like, 3 feet thick, so the cable doesn't even cross the product.
Yeah, I mean, the Series X is manageable, but the PS5 is just not. And it takes up the same real estate as my receiver, and that's how you kind of have to
Jesus.
Do it. And the stand is cool, but it's not like secure in there. When it's standing upright, it feels pretty secure. But if you do what I'm doing, and I have it like laid out horizontally so that it kind of looks like a receiver, it doesn't grab it that well. Like you jiggle it, it would just slide out of that thing onto the floor.
I mean, the PS4 jiggles. Like I'm reaching out because mine's right underneath the computer I'm working on, and it's got a little wiggle to it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I think I remember that
pretty
too about
flat
my original
bottom to it, doesn't it? Though.
Flat bottom girls, you
wiggle.
make the rockin' world go round. That's a song.
It is
Anyway. So setting him up. So PS5 setup went off without a hitch, except for several hitches. The first was that I just set up the whole thing, and at no point was it like, what's your PSN? And I don't know if I missed it or what, or if I walked away from it and then came back or what. But like I was just like on the home screen, and it hadn't logged me in, and it wasn't like super easy to do. Like I had to go like rummaging through the settings. Things have changed just slightly enough to throw you off.
Did you have to route in through your Steam account, through your Facebook account, into your PSN account?
Yes, but it was all the Ubisoft Connect count. Yeah.
If you try to play a PS4 game, does Jim Ryan show up on screen and be like, "Why are you playing this old game, you idiot?"
Yes. So then I finally logged into PSN, got everything going. The first thing I did was play Miles Morales, actually. And game starts, every marketing point that they've, put forth about the game and the system is true. So and even for someone like me who's like a PCMR kind of asshole, it
Wait, hold
feels
on. PCMR?
PC Master Race.
Oh no! Oh no! Carry on. No, just continue.
Even for me, it's kind of shocking and cool that it's that fast, that seamless, and this is one of the first differences I think between the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is that the system seems designed to like take advantage of those things and highlight those things and make the whole thing kind of truly seamless and slick feeling and cool, even though when you dig deep, it's a little rough around the edges. So you get into the game and my dad came up and I'm like, Dad, look at this game. And he's the opening cinematic is starting and, he's watching it and even he thinks it's pretty cool. And then Miles Morales opens his mouth to start talking and the music is playing, but nothing is coming out of Miles Morales' mouth. There very clearly should be voice, but there is no voice. And I try a couple things. I move a couple settings around. Nothing's helping. I finally just Google it. Turns out like everybody and their mom is having the same issue. And the problem is that if you're using any type of receiver, I guess the PS5 just assumes that you have like a 7.1 Dolby Atmos situation going on.
I'm guessing the sound was supposed to be coming out of the center channel for audio.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was supposed to be coming out of the center channel. And so I had to change that. And I was shocked when I searched it, how many people are struggling with that issue. And also why would they make that the default? Like just put it in stereo. And then if people have better stuff, let them, worry about that. So that was kind of mind boggling to me. And that issue is kind of indicative of a lot of the issues that I've had on both the Series X and PlayStation 5 side. Like another one is, so both consoles, and I didn't really know this beforehand.
Do you think that maybe that has something to do with Sony's push for the like 3D sound or whatever the hell they called it? Like let's dynamically map your ear canal and then have the most perfect sound for you. And that's their like, we're going to go hardcore in on biggest, bestest sound ever.
Do you think Mark Cerny has an ear fetish? It's just occurred.
Oh yeah, I think that's been established.
Okay, just checking.
No, because that stuff is pretty seamlessly integrated. Because bundle, I had to get the Pulse headset, so I have it. I've used it. It's great. But there's no option even in the settings for it to like take a picture of your ear or do any of that cool stuff. Apparently that's coming later. But it does. In terms of just like a simulated 3D experience, the Pulse headset is great. It does it really well. Certainly better than the bundled headset I got with the Series X. But no, that stuff is not kind of like front and center. I just think it was, I think it's just some weird thing. But along those lines, with the HDMI 2.1 and all of these cool new things that you can do if you are lucky enough to have a nice, television like I do, these consoles can do a lot of crazy stuff. I didn't really know that they really can do 4K 120 frames per second, and certain games even already do that. Like on the Series X, Call of Duty has actually I think on PS5 as well. Yeah, on both of them. The new Call of Duty has a full 4K 120 frames per second mode, which is really cool. And but these technologies are like not, I don't think they're like quite ready for prime time yet. There's too much to know.
Yeah.
Like if I say chroma subsampling and you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, then I guarantee you won't actually be getting 4K 120. You won't notice because you won't know the difference. And if you do know what I mean when I say chroma subsampling, then you're just in for a headache, because then you're going to be trying to fix it to make it actually full 4K 120. So I feel like it hurts both ends of the spectrum. It hurts like the people on the high end who are like me and are like, thinking about that stuff, because there are issues there. And then on the low end, people just literally aren't going to know. I feel like that it will be there. I think that the consoles will get patches and stuff to fix it and just make sure it works. But suffice it to say that the Xbox Series X is fully capable of 4K HDR 120 hertz without any compromises if you have a TV that can do that. The PlayStation 5 is actually not fully capable of that at all, which
Doesn't
sent me into like a spiral, because I was like looking on like basically it was telling me that it was outputting 4K 120 420 chroma subsampled, which is essentially a way that it can save on bandwidth by kind of consolidating the colors that it's outputting in certain pixel subsets. And I didn't want that. I wanted the full. I have a nice TV that can do that. And then it only came out days later that no, for no reason whatsoever, PlayStation like artificially capped the bandwidth out of the HDMI ports, so it can't really do that. And actually, what I'm getting, which still looks great and honestly imperceptibly different from the thing I was trying to get it to do, it can't actually do that. But it still looks great, even if you're not getting that full that full 4K 120.
Griffin, how upset does this make you?
Only upset
lost
because as I'm starting to learn more about PC stuff and get ready to build a new PC and get on board with like, hey, I think I'm ready to care about technology and not just be, console out of the box, let's get ready and go. Now it's like, oh, here's another fucking subset of bullshit you gotta learn about and worry about.
The good news is in PC world, a lot of this stuff, well, I mean, I imagine chroma subsampling is a thing, but certainly like a lot of it's lopped off. Like HDR is not a thing. You probably won't be running 4K.
HDR is a big headache on PC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you don't even mess with it. Don't bother, because it's such a headache.
True.
Okay.
True. That's the thing about the consoles too, which is kind of gobsmacks you a little bit. Like I have a crazy monitor that I'm looking at right now, crazy state-of-the-art ultra-wide LG monitor. It can do all those things, HDR, what have you, whatever. And I turn all those things on and I calibrate my screen and I make sure that everything's good. So I know what like a 4K HDR 120 frames per second thing looks like. But it's still Windows and it's still janky as crap. When I put on Ori and the Will of the Wisps on my Series X with 4K 120, it's like I've never actually seen those things before. It does it so much better. And it's so vibrant and so smooth. Same with the PlayStation 5, even though it's not doing like the full fat 444 not chroma subsample thing. Even on the PlayStation 5, even old stuff looks like God of War. Just looks jaw-dropping. So yeah, it's kind of, it is, I feel like it's on another level. So the systems do it better. But
I have just a couple things I want to jump in with. Number one, I think that, we've been through a few console launches in our lifetimes. And I think that generally speaking, like if they aren't blowing up or breaking out of the box, then that's a successful launch, right? Like this stuff is all small potatoes. Like, as far as these things go, it just, the pitfalls of being an early adopter. The other thing I want to put to you, Jamie, obviously you've dropped a lot of technical stuff that I can maybe follow along with, and maybe Griff can too, but might not be super accessible to your average person. But what I'm wondering is, do you think that, well, first of all, do you think that, in your limited time with these devices, the Series X is like the clearly more capable device, number one, and do you think that still doesn't matter?
So no, I think that, so how can I say this? So you're right. I've been nitpicky and all this stuff. It doesn't really matter. It matters to the people who are spoiled and, are tuned into this stuff. If you're not, you plug these things in, even if the settings are all wrong, it's a big difference. It's immediate. And it doesn't matter which one you get. They're both going to look crazy awesome, even with older games. They're going to make all your older, especially on the Xbox side with the auto HDR. I was playing Titanfall 2 with the auto HDR feature. Game looks like it came out yesterday. It looks like it looks like it came out yesterday for the Series X, and it plays like it came out yesterday for the Series X because there are decreases in latency and blah blah blah. So regardless, I think that's like what I meant when I said at the top, like everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah.
You take this thing out of the box, you plug it in the TV, even if the settings are wrong, even if you don't know what the hell you're doing, even if you're not even at full 4K at all, even if you're at 1080p, it's going to look better and it's going to play better. And it's going to be, I think most people will feel like it's worth it. And I think unlike previous console launches, with both of these machines, you have access to a backlog of games that allow you to make that comparison. And people will immediately be able to, regardless of, what your game is, if you've been playing Warzone like every day, you play Warzone on these new things, you're going to notice a difference. If you were obsessed with God of War like I was, and you just download it through the PS Plus collection, which is pretty cool, on the PS5, and you just play it without thinking about it, it looks and plays so much better. And it's just cool. It's cool that those things work. So I think that people will be happy, but I do think that everyone will probably have some sort of small issue. I haven't had, so there are larger issues that have been reported. I should mention, like people are talking about overheating. People are talking about the fans being loud. I haven't had either of those issues. These consoles are both whisper quiet. Unless you are less than a foot away from them, you cannot hear either, even at full load, which is really nice, actually. I haven't had any of these issues with PS5. It was reported it was having a lot of issues with waking from sleep, like a game, in the suspend mode. I haven't had those issues. I thought I was having issues with Xbox Series X and the feature where you can just go back and forth between a bunch of games at once. But I didn't realize that feature has a name, which is
Quick Resume?
Quick Resume.
Yeah.
And has a logo. And if the game doesn't have that logo on it, it doesn't actually support that.
Huh.
So if you see that logo, go ahead and do it. And it works seamlessly. It works great. Like I was bouncing back and forth between Yakuza and some other older games, and it worked great. But you just have to make sure it has that thing there. And yeah, I think that for the most part, I think people are going to just be able to use these new features, and it's going to be cool. The one thing though that I did run into, and this is a PlayStation issue that the Xbox handles completely better and does just so much better, is when you download a game, a PS5 game, on the new store, which is horrible. The new store on PlayStation Store.
I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought it up.
Why
do
they never
horrible.
make a good store?
So it doesn't even, at least with the old store, you click the store button and then it launches what seems like an app. In this, you click the store button and it just kind of scoots you down on the XMB, like as if you're just entering a sub menu. So you're not even sure that you're in the store, but you are. And then it like essentially shows you like the 5 games that are available for PlayStation 5. And then it's like, here are your games. That's it. And you have to do some navigating even to get to the PS Plus collection, which is a free collection of PlayStation 4 games that work. Most of them have some sort of enhancement on the PS5. You have to do some navigating to get to that. It's bad. It's not good. But anyway, so let's say that you click on one of those 5 games that are available, like Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and then you click download. If you just keep clicking, it's going to download both the PlayStation 4 version and the PlayStation 5 version.
I have heard about
doesn't
that. Yeah.
seem
This
to
is so
know.
stupid.
It doesn't seem to know that you are on a PlayStation 5. And not only that, you can then just run either version. And actually, in some cases, people are reporting, and I think I actually came across this specifically with Sackboy, the default is the PS4 version.
Amazing.
And if you want to figure out, how to determine which version is which and how to delete the PS4 version, that's an internet rabbit hole search that'll take you a couple hours. And it's like,
my God,
it's not fully available. So there's that issue. Now, however, on the Xbox Series X, totally different story. I got Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is if you have Xbox One S or X, or you have Xbox Series X or S, it's the same disc, and it says very clearly on the jewel case, it just says like this works with those 4 things. It doesn't matter, just put it in. It's one disc. It doesn't
that's
matter.
Cool.
Yeah, and so I put it in, and and immediately it knows that I'm on a Series X. It knows what version to serve me up, and it's just playing the best version possible. That's their smart delivery system. So on the Xbox side, they have a whole system with branding and a logo that on the PS5 it's like nobody thought about. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And so so the Series X takes a clear win there, but I do feel like at the end of the day, if I'm thinking about my experience with both consoles, despite the fact that the Xbox Series X handles things like that better, I think it handles setup better. I think it also handles, the Game Pass integration, even as a Series S and a Game Pass PC owner, the Game Pass integration is just phenomenal, and it's so fast. It's so awesome. Even with all that, I do think that, in terms of like feeling like this is a new generation, I feel like the PS5 does take the cake, and all you have to do is just feel that new controller in your hand and play Astro's Playroom, and then immediately it's like night and day. And it's the kind of thing where like I can hand the DualSense to Shannon when I'm playing Astro and have her walk around on different materials, and she can feel the difference. Someone who doesn't care about video games at all, really. And that's pretty cool. And even when you've played it for a little while and you just kind of get used to it, right? Like you played Astro for a couple hours and you get used to the feel of walking on metal is different from walking in sand, is different from whatever. So I played Astro for a couple hours, and then I went and played God of War. And God of War is just using the old school, just like vibration, whatever, it doesn't matter. And it was like, it felt so horrible. And I actually had to, I went back to my PlayStation 4 and I booted up God of War on my PS4 with a DualShock just to make sure that actually it wasn't like the DualSense was interpreting normal vibration stuff badly and overdoing it. No, its vibration always felt this bad. And then Astro and the PS5 controller is just doing it so much better. And so
for plebs like us who don't have this controller and maybe haven't really kept up on exactly what it does, can you explain kind of what makes the PS5 controller different from like HD Rumble, which is like the Switch Joy-Cons? Like
Switch one, yeah.
Like what is better about that for dummies?
Yeah. The first thing I'll say is that I was one of those idiots who bought 1-2 Switch at launch, and we played that at PAX, Jeff. Yeah. We had fun playing that.
Mario Party is another game that uses the HD Rumble pretty well. Like it works. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. And I think that this, as much as HD Rumble feels like an evolution from normal Rumble, I feel like this is 2 steps beyond that. This is like 2 steps above, and I think it's a game changer. And I feel like, for one thing, it's a refinement of the things that the Switch can do. So, for example, on the 1-2 Switch game where you tilt the controller and it feels like there are marbles inside of the controller rolling from one end to the other. This can do that, but it just feels even more realistic. And then the thing that this controller can do that the Switch controller can absolutely not do, is match that with the inbuilt speaker in the controller, which in games like Astro and Sackboy will play a sound or a noise that goes along with the feeling that you're getting, and it just kind of all blends together and really adds up to something that's greater than its parts, and also the adaptive triggers it can't do. So on the PS5, the L2 and R2, it can be programmed to stop at certain points or give you a certain amount of resistance at certain points and then allow you to break through that resistance, so on and so forth. So a great example of this is in Sackboy. When you pick something up, the animation is twofold. There's like the first part of the animation where he makes like a grunting noise and he like grabs the thing from underneath. And then the second part of the animation is he kind of actually hoists it up. So it's kind of like he's bending down and then he actually hoists it up. And in Sackboy, when you press the R2 button to pick something up, when he bends down, you notice a fair amount of resistance. And then you keep pressing and you eventually break through that resistance, that it kind of releases that resistance,
Huh.
and then he kind of actually hoists the object up. And
How much resistance are we talking about here? Like, is this like you're gonna have to work for it kind of resistance, or is it like just a little bit?
it's not it's definitely not you're going to have to work for it. It's enough to be effective.
Okay.
And people have said that in Call of Duty, I think they overdid it a little bit, and it actually is fatiguing. But for Astro and Sackboy, it is not. I've seen the diagrams for how the resistance is given on the controller, and I do believe it could just make a full stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it actually could, mechanically just prevent you from
depressing the button all the way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Until you just crack it in half.
Exactly.
Can you sub out boutique mechanical switches for your R2 buttons? Like I prefer a Cherry MX Blue resistant trigger.
Talk about PCMR
for a tactile click when I fire.
When you press the button to make Sackboy jump, does it make just a pathetic yawn sound?
I mean, I actually love. So I love this game.
Quick question: which track by the Go Team have they featured this time?
I don't think the Go Team are in it,
No!
but it does have. It does have. Oh God, what's that song? The Michelle Pfeiffer song by Bruno Mars.
Don't know.
Oh.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that one.
That
Uptown
is in.
Funk.
It's not like a cover. That actual song is in the game. Not only that, in the level it's used in, they like remixed it. So like based on and all the levels do this, based on where you are in the level, the music is swelling and changing and stuff. And if it's like a particularly, intense part of the level, like the full track will swing into, and like it'll be loud and cool. And they did the same with that song. Like it kind of starts and stops and starts and stops. And I mean, you've got the bo, 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 like that's playing.
Do you have a Sack Bruno?
You do actually.
Oh,
you literally do.
I knew it.
You get the outfit he wears in that video.
Perfect.
After you beat that level, this does not feel like Little Big Planet, and it's not the same team.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Sumo Digital.
It's not the Go Team.
Was it Made in Dreams?
It was not Made in Dreams. It's a great little game. It's not like a game changer. I think of all the things that are available at launch, this is probably lower on the list. But if you have kids or you're interested in co-op, like I played a co-op level with Shannon a few nights ago, it was awesome. I feel like it's a great game. It's not a life-changing game, but it's a fun game. It feels good. It feels responsive. It's not like Little Big Planet at all. So I think that you shouldn't write it off. You should check it out. And this is the kind of game that will be in the bargain bin for $10 like 2 seconds from now, or it'll just be free on PSN. And either way, totally worth a look. But I do think that on the PlayStation 5, the games that really sell it, surprisingly not Spider-Man's awesome, but I think the games that make you realize how awesome this new console is Demon's Souls and Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom is like a full game in my eyes.
And it's
only like,
right? It's free.
Yeah, pack in, download it on the system, ready to go when you open it up. And it's such a great way to demonstrate that controller. It's worth so much more than 1-2 Switch ever was, and it's free. So it's like it just invites comparison to that game. Like Nintendo charged me to feel the difference with their new Rumble.
Can you eat a sandwich or milk a cow?
Unfortunately, no. You got me.
1-2 Switch gave us John Cena milking, and that's honestly worth more than anything.
Worth it. Oh my God.
You can see him milking.
I remember when PlayStation 4 came out, there were 2 games that I tried at launch. There was the new Killzone, which looked beautiful, but it was running at 30 frames per second, and it didn't feel like a generational improvement. It looked like a really good version of the games that were available before. And then there was an indie game that I played called Contrast. Ugh. And Contrast had a cool aesthetic, but actually looked really bad and ran like shit.
Yeah, it was virtually unplayable.
Yep.
Like completely unplayable. and it was a simple game, and it really kind of, I think that was the game that made a lot of people early in those consoles' life cycle say, these things aren't powerful enough. Like, this is not going to bode well for the generation.
I distinctly remember the airplane engines going on for that game, and I was like, uh-oh, this is not good.
And then these games, like you throw on Astro's Playroom, it looks amazing. It's simple, yes, but it's running like buttery smooth. It's using ray tracing in the game, and you can see it, and the difference is amazing. And it's running without a hitch. The console's dead silent, and that really makes you like say like, oh my god. And I think really anyone could see that difference. And then Demon Souls is the most beautiful game I've ever seen. It's really mind-boggling. It doesn't have ray tracing or any of that, fancy, stuff, but it just looks absolutely incredible. It runs without a hitch, like jaw-droppingly beautiful. And I feel like those two games really just make it feel like a new generation. Spider-Man looks great. And if you like, I think that the ray tracing is transformative because every single reflective surface is ray tracing and you're swinging around New York City. So I feel like it does make a big difference, but it's not as big of a difference as you see with those two games. And both of those games, all three of those games, but especially Demon Souls and Astros, not only do they look amazing, I mean, they're both just absolutely fabulous games. And I really do consider Astro a full game. Maybe it's only 5 hours long, whatever, but there are time trials that you can complete with your friends in. I consider that to be a full game. Such a cool experience. And then I already talked on the Series X what I've been playing. I've I dipped back into stuff. Little Gears 5, little Titanfall 2, River City Girls. Everything runs smoothly. It's great to have. There's more space on that hard drive, so you can download more stuff and just chuck it on there. And it's cool to just have access to all of your Game Pass stuff right away. But the game that I've really been playing there is Yakuza Like a Dragon.
All right.
Which is awesome, which is amazing. And it's very smooth on the Series X. It doesn't look like a next generation game. It's not going to give you those Astro or Demon Souls levels of like, oh my god. It looks like a game that could easily run at 60 frames per second on the previous generation, and I think it actually, I believe it does. I'm not sure, but
it looks fine. But again, I have no judge of that stuff.
Yeah, but it just, I mean, when I play that game on the Series X, I'm not thinking, wow, new console generation. I'm just thinking, wow, this game rocks. But I'm not, it doesn't feel like something, groundbreaking. But I think what is groundbreaking is being able to press the Xbox button on the controller and then 2 seconds later be playing River City Girls, where I left off in that game, which is really, really cool. And that stuff works. And I mean, if we're comparing stores, the new PlayStation store is clearly a pile of dog doo-doo, but on the Xbox side, the Game Pass app is wonderfully integrated, very easy to use and navigate. The Microsoft Store app, it feels like it's from 10 years ago, and no one's updated it. The search doesn't seem to surface stuff great, and it doesn't seem to be organized in the way that makes sense. And you can find what you need to find if you want to. If you want to get on there and download Pac-Man Championship Edition DX for the 360, you can. It's there. But
that's not where your high scores are.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I think that's my the only other thing I'll say is, and I already said this a little bit, with the PS5, all the accessories, the controller charger, the Pulse headset, even those feel next gen, well constructed, rock solid. The console itself also feels rock solid. The Xbox Series X, the console itself is beautiful, well built. The controllers feel great, but there's no official headset. The headset that came bundled with my bundle is a Razer Kishi that is specific. No, not a Razer Kishi. It's a Razer something or other that's specifically for
it's a Razer
Xbox. the Razer Rokusaki. It's and it's not. It's just it can't compete with the Pulse headset and the controller charger, which is not first party, which is like the only one that's available right now. It's a little finicky, So there is a difference there too. But
I still think
overall, I think they're both cool.
That they allow you to use regular. Remember when we thought that rechargeable everything was good, and now we know that batteries are like always better.
You mean
on the Xbox controller?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Because rechargeable, they're just dead in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're using AA's, I think you get a lot of hours out of those.
Yeah.
On the.
I use rechargeable AA's, which is like the best of both worlds because you can just take them out. But so Jamie, do you think that like if for the average user who tries out these consoles, they will notice any performance difference between them?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Because I have my ear to the ground and I'm obsessive and I watch a lot of Digital Foundry videos, I know that until like yesterday, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was just tearing constantly on the Series X and not on the PS5. However, that has been fixed. So I feel like there might be a couple disparities at first. And I feel like once the games get patched and as we ease into like the middle of this generation, I don't think there's going to be any differences. I don't think even there's going to be any image quality differences. Like at least on the last generation, if you compare something like Red Dead Redemption 2 on the One X and the PS4, there were tangible image quality differences, even if the performance, so the raw frames per second, even if that was just 30 on both sides, in terms of image quality, it was better on the One X. But I don't even think that, they're both so good. I don't think that people are really going to see a difference. And I think it's going to be more like, where are your friends and do you have Game Pass and, what are your priorities?
Seems like PS5 is definitely generating more buzz, just kind of from the layperson, read the room, see what's trending on Twitter kind of perspective. But I don't know, maybe Game Pass will have will help the system have a longer tail, but I feel like the rush right now is PS5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it's going to be where I want to get trophies. It's going to be where I want the ecosystem that I want to be in. And it just feels new. It just, something I realized when I was playing Astro is that, so Astro the character obviously was developed alongside the PSVR and for PlayStation 4. And the PSVR headset itself had a very specific aesthetic. It was white and black, and it was kind of funky looking. And so they designed Astro to be white and black and kind of funky looking. And I realized when I was playing Astro's Playroom and holding the DualSense and looking at the huge honking thing under my TV, I'm like, oh my God, they just took that aesthetic and they made everything that aesthetic. Like the PS5 looks like it's from outer space. And it has nice like LED implementation. The Xbox doesn't have any LEDs on it. The controller feels like something new and crazy, and even the LED, the ways that the LEDs work on the controller and kind of frame the touchpad now, just looks beautiful and different. And on the Xbox Series X, it's it's nice, but it's not that. It's not like there's this central design aesthetic, which is like carried through to every single facet of the actual hardware, which is really cool. So yeah,
sweet. Looking forward to getting one in summer 2021.
Yeah, same here.
And the other thing I'll say is I don't think that you need. I put the settings down to 1080p on both of them just to see. And even with new games like Yakuza on the Xbox side and with Astro and everything else on the PlayStation side, even with 1080p and with HDR off, you can see the difference, especially in ray trace titles. And I think it's something that people haven't seen before. So I think that the jaw drop comes when you really get the full 4K 120, but it's still something new, even without those things. So I truly think that, for you guys, for example, don't feel the need to upgrade your TV just for these consoles, and don't feel like you're not getting your money's worth if you don't, because I think that you still will see and feel, enough of a difference to feel like you weren't like gypped. And I also feel like the price points for these consoles are fair. I mean, I think $400 for the discless PS5 rather, is like the exact right price. $500 for the Series X feels a little steep, but I think that $400 PS5 is the sweet spot.
And some of the games have 1080p performance modes, right?
Yeah, and even some of the previous gen games. So I think that God of War also had a performance mode on PS4 Pro, but it tried to get to 60 and it never really could. On PS5, it's locked 60, feels incredible. Really feels like a different game. So that's cool. Demon Souls is just 60, just running flawlessly. I went back and forth between the performance mode and the ray trace mode on Miles Morales. So the ray trace mode is 30 and the performance mode has no ray tracing and it's 60. And it's really hard to go back to that ray trace mode after you've tried it in 60, but it is kind of worth it just because it's so filmic and amazing. But yeah, you usually have that option with both. But one thing that both consoles do well is in the system settings, you can specify whether generally you prefer performance or fidelity.
Oh, cool.
And then without asking, when you play a game, it'll just jump to that mode. So on my PlayStation, I just have the better visual quality mode just enabled. So when I launch Miles Morales, it doesn't ask me. It's just giving me the 30 frames per second ray traced mode. And if I went into the system settings and changed that, it would do the opposite. There's a similar function on the Series X.
Interesting. I definitely am interested in getting one of these. I just don't know what the time frame will be, because again, they clearly they're keeping their cards close to the chest, but I just don't think that stock can really meet demand at a time like this.
No way.
No. And I think, Jeff, we were on the same boat from the last time we spoke too, which is pretty much just interest levels are moderate, but there's no need to really go out and put effort into procuring a system, especially at an elevated price point when there's really no games out for it. Either one. And I think probably you and I are probably going to be focusing on PlayStation 5 again versus Xbox, because, if you have a PC, you can pretty much get everything you want there.
Yeah, definitely.
True. I will say though that the EA games are not in the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate PC oeuvre.
I'm gonna get my FIFA.
So like, if you wanna, it's kind of cool, and they're all there. So if you want to play if you want to dismember them with any of those dead spaces, you gotta have it. You gotta have PC. You gotta have Game Pass on the Xbox. The console.
I do want to play Demon Souls. I'm interested in that. Like, I think that's probably the thing that pushes me over the edge. Like, that would be the only purchase I would make. I would not buy any of the other games. And then just also enjoy my PS4 games on fancy new hardware that looks cool and has a fun controller that's a different color. Like, these are all stupid things, but they are things that make me want to hold and behold the new hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Jamie,
totally
I'm definitely more excited after you speaking to it making good on maybe not all of the nuances that it was going to do, but overall just like looking like a kick-ass new iteration in technology.
Yeah, and I totally agree with what you said, Griff. Like, don't kill yourself to get these. They're cool, they're novelties, but it's not like a revolution in gaming. Enjoy what you have for now, and when these things are available, and please don't pay eBay prices for them. Just wait. They will be. I would guess in March they'll be widely available, and I think that at that time, as I said, I think $400 for the digital PS5. I think that just feels like the right move. But until then, no reason to kill yourself.
You don't think I should invest in a disc version, Jamie? Do you think that that's kind of like pointless, or what?
What PS4 game do you want to play?
Do you think I should invest in a Sony PlayStation 5 PS5 disc version star box only star for $99 on eBay?
That's very
yes.
Good. That's some expensive cardboard, brother.
Woo! It's like some Nintendo shit right there.
That's amazing. That's so good.
I think I have a few games on disc. Like I think I have Nier Automata on disc. I wouldn't want to have to rebuy that.
I think that's in the collection. So my advice to you would be identify which PS4 games you want to play. See if they're in the collection, because then you can just download them.
Is there a discount on digital versus press discs? $70 to $65 or anything like that, or is it all flat 70 now?
It's $70.
Okay.
Demon's Souls for me was $70.
So I will still continue to always buy discs.
Yeah, I mean, you do get that level of flexibility, and I think that it's not that big of a price difference. That if you want the discs, maybe go for it. I wanted a disc version, and I only got the one I got because that's the one that I could click the button on fast enough. I expected to feel more constrained than I do, especially because of the collection and because anything that you've bought digitally on the PS4 is immediately available for you to download on the PS5. So, for example, a couple months ago, I bought on the PS4, Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, and I just downloaded it again in 2 seconds on the PS5, and now it's there for me to play there. So it feels less constraining than I would have thought.
Yeah, because their messaging was very like, well, most of the games will work. I was like, why not all of them?
Yeah, it also makes a better case for the fast switching bullshit, because, if you have to switch the disc, what's the point of your fast switching? So I think that it makes a case for a future state of being more digital, but I still will hold on to the physical discs as long as I can, and the physical playing versions as long as I can.
Also,
and I think especially if you have bandwidth caps and other considerations, and especially if you're in the PS universe, I think that needs to be considered as well, because the usable space on the PS5 is something like 600 some odd gigabytes, and Call of Duty is like over 100. So keep that in mind. And there is no way to cold store your PS5 games on an external hard drive of any type. And there is no way to despite the fact that it has an expansion NVMe slot that is ready for third-party drives that you can access. It does not support expandable storage at all at this time, which is that just flabbergasts me. Whereas on the Xbox side, they have a slot that it works. It
it's just
works.
a hole. You just throw your shit into a hole.
It doesn't matter.
It's the N64 memory expansion bay.
It is. It literally is. I got one because I wanted this to be just
you
like.
You paid $250 for it? Oh man,
dude! If I pay $800 for a bundle for this thing that I don't even need, you know what? There's no reason for me not to just.
It's true.
So I just want this to be like the ultimate Game Pass machine. Yeah. I just want to be able to play anything that I just think of. I just want to be able to play it instantaneously. So I got that, threw it in the back. It's completely seamless, and it's full. But I have 2 terabytes full of games.
Wow.
On there now, and it's awesome. I just think like, oh, I want to play Mass Effect 2. Oh, I want to play Titanfall 2. Oh, I want to play, whatever. It's just there. It's really cool.
Also, Nier Automata is not on PlayStation Plus collection. Plus, I wouldn't own it anyway. I mean, but I'll have to inventory my collection and see if it matters. Because what I did with the PS Vita, another illustrious, long-lived device, was just sold my PSP games and then rebought the ones I cared about. So.
Also, don't think that you can be smart and get an external 4K Blu-ray drive and hook it up. Many people have tried, and it does not work with either the PS4 or PS5 or the Series S. It does not work.
I did not think I would, but that's hilarious that people have tried that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, they have to justify their $100 price hike for a $10 component.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. But yeah.
Anyway, should we talk about?
Tell me about what you guys have been playing.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of pretty dramatic software management options, I recently switched my PlayStation 4 over to flip-flop the X and the circle because I can only do confirm a circle now.
Oh, I know why he can only do confirm a circle now.
I'll tell you what, man. Playing Yakuza Like a Dragon after playing Genshin Impact was like it was like having to relearn how to ride a bicycle again, because every button is off by one, basically. You know, your confirm is X, your cancel is circle, your run is R, whatever the one is in Ton Genshin. So that's a switch. And Jamie, I'm glad you were playing Yakuza as well, and liking it. It's pretty fucking good.
I'm glad to hear that you like it, Griff, because you were like ready to snooze on it when it's a pretty significant transformation in terms of the approach to combat.
Yeah, I'm interested. Well, okay, so I didn't know this. I didn't know that was an afterthought, that it was already midway through development, and then I guess they did some sort of promo event or something and showed that off, and then pivoted to make it a turn-based. And it there's a lot of flaws that go along with that. It does seem a little bit like there's some elements that that characters do that okay, so for example, if you are targeting an enemy and you're a distance away from them, you'll run towards them, and certain abilities that you have will then also attack obstacles in the way, or you'll utilize obstacles to increase damage as you run through them to the enemy. However, as far as I can tell, there's no good way to, one, set yourself up to do that effectively and utilize those skills, or two, even really get any sort of acknowledgement that is going to happen, and except just by, experience and playing. Even to the extent where if you try and run through an enemy, they'll basically, block you, and your turn is then wasted. So that's a bummer, but every other aspect of the combat has been really fun and really funny, and I think that maybe another bummer of the game is that if you've seen any of the marketing, you kind of know the big 1/5 of the game swing or quarter of the game swing that happens that sets your character off in a new direction. But nonetheless, going to it was really cool, and especially after playing Judgment and kind of cold on it, I liked what it was doing and how it was kind of exploring a different side of oh god, what is the location?
It's not the same as this one, right?
No, it is the same. They're all the same location.
But Kamurocho?
Yeah, it's Kamurocho. And I think that they went in a direction with Judgment, and this takes it in a much stronger and more interesting location, or not location, but interaction with a different lifestyle of that area. Your main character is Ichi is fantastic. I think that the game struggles with it's doing something in engaging in a aspect of Japanese culture and just culture in general that games typically don't do by having you interact with homeless people and brothels and sex workers and let's see here people who've just kind of fucked up and have made mistakes and now are, down on their luck is a real shorthand way to put it, but it's like they are being oppressed because of their mistakes. So they approach a lot of those things, but I just don't, it's a Japanese cartoon combat game where you can summon a chicken to poop out an egg. They swing really hard, and it's a really valiant effort, and sometimes there's really good shining moments, but other times it just kind of comes across as a little bit undercooked. But nonetheless, I think it's really good, and it's doing a cool thing that a Yakuza game hasn't really done before. And I'm not saying just the combat and how that's being approached, but storytelling wise, a different angle on the Yakuza, a character that went to prison. I guess Kiryu did too, but is then very much under the thumb of society's preconceived notions because of that. So
he's still a very, very good boy despite being in the killing people gang.
Yes.
It's
not about that for him, Jeff. God,
It's about honor.
Yeah.
I mean, joking aside, I mean, you're not wrong. I think this character is more in line with like, I want to be a good guy, I want to be a hero, versus the Kiryu of like, I'm gonna save this orphanage and this one girl who will atone for all my murder sins.
I really enjoyed the dissonance though. I think it's freaking hilarious.
His stated influence is Dragon Quest.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
like, he wants to be like Dragon Quest. Yeah, that sounds great to me.
It is. It does. They do a good job, and there's a lot of characters that bounce and play off that, and obviously the combat is an RPG, the methodology that harkens to Dragon Quest. There's character classes and skills and things that
Job
you know
classes,
are very
right?
much that track with classical RPG design. There's a lot of funny shit in there to be had. I would say it may not land with either of you guys too well because of the amount of time it takes to get into a little bit more of the meat of the game. I know personally that's what I'm facing, and I'm still going to keep trucking with it, but I doubt having heard that it's somewhere around a 50 to 70 hour game, depending on how much you want to go and commit to everything. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it, especially when there's still parts of the menu that are grayed out because I haven't encountered them yet. And I probably put 10 to 15 hours into it at this point, chapter 4. But yeah, it's still, I don't know. It's worth at least checking out, and I think that it's taking Yakuza in a fun new direction, and also, I don't know, not to say more serious, but tackling different themes, which is good for everyone, and especially a developer that's, you know, typically not going to do that type of stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, so this is my first Yakuza game ever. I've never played another one. I did not play Judge Eyes, and all I know is the wacky craziness of like the trailers that I've seen. And this game starts out on a very serious note. Like the opening cutscene doesn't even involve Ichiban. It involves the man who will come to be his patriarch, 40 years down the line. And it's a super heavy situation that character finds himself in. And I was like, did I get the wrong game? Or did it think that this is a different Yakuza game when I put it in the Xbox? Like, what is happening? And now I'm finally, I've gotten through the part where I went to prison and I'm out. So I feel like it's becoming more goofy. But I do think they did a good job at sprinkling the goofiness in throughout, even when it does get serious. And I find the tone and the tonal shifts jarring but very engaging. And I don't know if that's something that Yakuza just does generally speaking, but I love the kind of like moments of tense melodrama just immediately punctuated by like a shift in the music to bizarre and then someone's talking about pooping. Like
yeah. Jimmy,
what I expect Yakuza to be though.
That's I think the big difference is Kiryu would do that in the previous Yakuza games. You'd have that moment where he's, you know, or he's super stern, serious, you know, murder gangster man who then is going to go sing karaoke and do some Final Fantasy VII remake cloud dancing stuff and go completely out of character. Where in this game, Ichi seems like they would be more likely to have that kind of tonal swing and be okay with looking like a dingus for a while. Actually, there's literally a scene in the game where the character does something and gets reprimanded for not acting like enough of a Yakuza gangster.
I do feel like that it fits because his whole thing is, and I don't know what the story is with the original character, but Ichi's a fish out of water. Like he wasn't born into this. He was like an outcast, and he's always been a little on the outside. And I feel like that's probably a theme that it seems like that's going to be a theme that runs throughout. In the first games, is the main character, is he just like a, you know, born and bred Yakuza?
No, every game is like, you're the outcast who makes their way in, that then the great captain recognizes, you know, the power within, but then, you know, shit happens.
Gotcha. Are you playing with Japanese or are you playing in English?
I'm actually playing in English because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to try too hard on this.
So you're not hearing them say "so desne" every 2 seconds, and then the thing at the bottom of is just a completely different sentence, and I don't understand Japanese at all.
What's a bummer is a lot of the external to cutscene, like the classic Yakuza typewriter fill the subscreen with text and the as it's writing the letters will also be punctuated with people just being like mm-hmm. And it's like they won't like sodesne type of things where it's that interjection will be clearly a Japanese voice actor or actress clip that they just chose not to translate or have an English voice actor dub over. Which you would think would be the easier of the ones, but hey, whatever.
I'm playing in Japanese, and usually in a lot of games I start out that way, and I kind of lose my patience and switch it over to English. But I've been having a great time, even with the subtitles, and the acting is great. Obviously, I'm reading the subtitles, but I feel like the characters are being conveyed in like a really compelling way, and I don't feel any need to switch it back over to English. And yeah, and then I get the benefit of, having a character, just say "so disney" constantly for no reason. And also, just saying hi. Like, it's amazing. Like, just hi. Like, that can come through as like one of a million things based on context. It's pretty crazy. So it's fun in that way too. But yeah, I'm having a blast. I hope it keeps it up.
Yeah, I always liked the original Yakuza voice acting, so I've kind of always been okay with doing that. Eliza Dushku, Michael Madsen, Rachel Lee Cook. So
is she in it? Is Eliza Dushku in this one?
No, this was the first one, the PlayStation 2 version. And I liked it. So I have no, but I'm yes, those moments, Jamie, that you're describing where there's still like the Japanese audio. It's I wouldn't say it's jarring, but it definitely happens. Also, this game has fucking wonderful item descriptions. So, yeah.
But wait, if they don't play during the load screens because of SSDs.
What?
Do they do the item descriptions during load screens? Like
no, like you go to a shop to go buy
yeah. Lots of punny stuff.
A large personal massager.
Oh no!
That acts as a bat. It's very funny. I think I messaged you guys. Look up, what is it? Pound Mates. If you're not going to play the game, at the very least, just look up the introduction to Pound Mates quest and what that all entails, and it's fucking wonderful.
Oh boy. I definitely want to play it. I'm looking for stuff to grab my attention because as Griff was starting to say, I have been in real deep on one game, which is my initiation into the genre of gacha.
Yeah.
Husbando
tactical. No, it's a good gacha. So Griff and I have been playing. It's one of the good ones, I promise.
Jeff, now you know how it feels like.
Yeah, well, let me just hold on. Let me just pull out my Excel spreadsheet, and then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
Wait. Before we even start, because I'm the outsider in this conversation. Yes. Can just tell me, just to preface everything, how much money have both of you spent on this game so far? And I wouldn't be surprised if it's zero for both of you.
No, I've spent money for either of us. I have spent. Let me think. So I bought 2 battle passes, and those are $10 each. And then one of them I bought like an upgrade to the level of the battle pass. So that was another $10. And then I've bought 2 like monthly
drip feeds of the
good juice for $5 each. So I've spent $40 even.
The best value proposition, Jeff, is very you're doing the right thing here.
Griffin, how much have you spent?
Okay, so including PlayStation 4, I think it's probably around $70 at this point.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No, I mean
that's a Demon Souls.
Right, yeah. hey, it's not $1,000 for a console I'm barely going to play. So, uh, no, Jamie, you're right in asking that. Is there, how much is the gacha getting us? And I think that, Jeff, you can probably speak to this very eloquently, but I think that if you are new to gacha, and I think if you're, this game can be overwhelming, but in reality, by no means do you have to spend a dime and have a good experience with it.
Yeah, I'm spending on the game because I'm playing right now. I'm playing it every day. The nice thing about the monthly shit is that you literally just buy 30 days of like resource trickle, as Griffin said. So like, I did this with the knowledge that I'm going to be playing for the next 60 days, and I did it very strategically. It's too stupid to explain in this context, but there was a reason why I like pre-bought the next 30 days. So like, I have like, you
min-maxed the gacha system.
I min-maxed the gacha system. Obviously, they min-maxed my wallet. Is really what happened. But look, I mean, you know, I've dropped $40 on this game, and it's been a fun game. Like, you know, and I would say there's different stages of playing this game. So there's the stage of playing the game where you're just exploring the world and having fun.
Initial disgust. Well, we have to start with initial disgust.
Initial disgust, when you load the game up and you're like, what is all this material? Why are there pieces of paper that help my characters gain levels? Why am I getting like 8,000 different currencies? Oh my god, the monetization potential here is off the chain.
Yeah,
which is where I'm at, but I understand it gets better. But I must add that the reason why I stopped, and the reason why it feels even more insidious than other games to me, even though I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't given that much time to the game, is because all of those things are there, but it's also not clear why they need to be there.
They don't.
And that's what really scares me, is because it's like, so you're saying that I could spend money on this stuff, but I literally don't know what these are for, and I don't seem to need them at all. So I'm like, you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
You don't. So here's the thing. So the money that I have spent has given me like resources that allow, and this is where I was getting at with the two different parts of the game. So part one of the game is like exploring the world. Part one is disgust. So you get out of the hinterlands of disgust. Then you start playing the game and you're like, oh, this is dumb. But then you start exploring the landmass and you're like, okay, this is actually really fun. Like, this is well built in the same way.
Diet Zelda.
It's Diet Zelda. Yeah. Like, you don't get the cool physics interactions, right? But you get like the fun, like, environmental puzzles, hidden treasure around every corner, lots of interesting collectibles that encourage you to engage with the landscape in a way that goes beyond just like, this is the overworld. It's like, you have to like look for these little hidden trinkets and like, you know, go to the highest peak and you might find one there, go underneath this secret alcove and you might find one there. Like,
and there's legitimate benefit to doing it.
Oh yeah. Like there's not just like bullshit, like, you know, oh, you earn the ability to spend money. Like, doing that stuff gives you tangible resources that helps you further your progress in the game in various ways. So there's that side of it, right? Like, which is just exploring the world. And if you just do that, you could get many, many, many hours of enjoyment out of this game. Like, there is a lot, even with the 2 land masses that currently exist. And I think the ultimate plan is to probably have like around, let's say, 10 to 15 of these land masses is my guess.
Yeah, that smells right.
The next landmass they're adding isn't even like plot essential. It's just a landmass. So just doing that is like deeply fun. And you could while away the hours doing that. Now, the second part of the game, which I think is the part where they're trying to spearfish for whales, right? Like, they're trying to grab themselves some whales, is the character development, stat growth, overcoming challenges half of the game. And I have engaged with that part of the game on some level, and I think it's ultimately like, it's probably the more hollow, empty side of the game. But I am
agree 100%.
I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm enjoying it because we're in like a pandemic and because I don't have something else that's really grabbing me right now. So like, that's really where most of my spend has happened, right? Like, I've spent on this battle pass junk, which is like, you get a trickle of resources for doing daily quests, and like, you get you get different things that allow you to develop your characters more and like maybe get more opportunities to get new characters. And I've spent on essentially like the game's primary currency, which is called Primo Gems, which allows you to do more polls.
That just sounds awesome.
Yeah, right.
Primo
Gems. It allows you to do more polls. It allows you to basically like speed up what you're doing in the game to some degree, but it's wholly unnecessary. Like, the game doles out quite a few of these things to begin with. There's always events going on. If you just progress through the game, you'll get pulls. It happens. Mine just kind of levels things out a little bit. Like, the level of spend I'm doing, which is really mostly just the $5 a month, the $10 is kind of optional, just kind of smooths out that curve a little bit. But honestly, it's wholly unnecessary, and all you're getting out of the polls, you're getting like cool weapons, which whatever, you could still get good weapons in the game world, and you're getting like the potential for new characters, which again is
which Jeff, you can attest to. The need for new characters is mitigated by the game. I think by playing the game rewards. Like, I'm so surprised by the amount of free characters they've been giving out up to this point, that as a person who has had incredibly poor luck in your case, you had a completely viable team. And by no means is there an unviable team in this game. It's just a matter of who do you like to...
Exactly.
Yeah, what do you like to do?
If you have like a deep need to have all the things, don't play this game, because it's gambling, right? Like, that's what that side of it is, right? But like, some of our favorite games have gambling. Like Overwatch has gambling, right? Like I think it's gross, and maybe the integration is a little bit more pervasive, but like, I view that side of the game as a wholly separate element. Like,
absolutely,
there are moments when those elements weave together, but they are few and far between, to be quite honest. And the things that I'm doing that have caused me to spend money are just because I'm a very engaged player. Like, again, it may be that my total spend on this game is $40. It may be that I throw them another $15 or $5 next month. I don't know. It's possible. But like, it's not... Even that is going to be less than the cost of one marquee title, right? And I'm still having a good time with it. And, again, like, this is all, like, it's progression for progression's sake. Like, it doesn't actually achieve much. Like, the game does gate story quests based on, like, your world level or whatever, which does require some degree of grinding to get up. But, like, honestly...
But also, you can do it without... that sort of dedication to your wallet spending, and even a huge dedication to squeezing every little nuance out of the game.
Yeah, and honestly, like, spending doesn't actually juice up your world level that quickly anyway. Like, that stuff... The thing about these games that I've come to understand is that the way they drive engagement is by forcing you to kind of do things over time. So, like, you can't play the game and expect that, like, when you get your shiny new character, that you're going to have them ready to go out the gate. Like, I have
max level, max perfection.
Like, I have built one character that I think is pretty good, and I'm working on a second one. And, like, that's the pace of this game. Like, you're not intended to, like, max all the stats. And if that's what you're chasing, that's bad. But if you're not chasing that, and you're just kind of enjoying the world and, like, coming back to the world and kind of forming a routine, that's pretty fun. And honestly, the temptation to spend, I find, is mitigated by the fact that the value that you're buying for most of it is pretty poor. So like, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, or maybe they didn't, because maybe the whales don't care, and they've made tons of money, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot because their deals are not that enticing. Like, I have no desire to just spend on polls. Like, that to me, all the stuff they're offering you to spend on polls is like a terrible deal, to the point where I'm like, why would I drop $40 to play the lottery like 10 times? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Like, so
no, and that's totally legit. And I, as a person who did do exactly that, I feel like walking away from it, I have a better understanding of, and I'll circle back on this, but I like you said, Jeff, that it's a separate world in the game. It's a separate portion of the game. Like, you can have the coolest, most badass character, but that doesn't mean that you are by not having them, does that mean that you're not going to be able to progress or experience things or anything? And in all honesty, like, that's why I keep saying the meta is bullshit. Like, the nuance to have a fully maxed out character with all the most perfection things means, like, okay, so you're going to continue to hit a wall that's in 2 other formats of the drip feed of the game of, like, you have to deal with this other item that you can only get so many times a week, and you have to deal with another currency that allows you to play those things on a daily basis. So it is a series of systems that keeps you coming back. It reminds me a lot of, an MMO RPG where
it's my new Animal
you're
Crossing,
doing your dailies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
I told Jessica about it, and I was like, I got to do my dailies. Like, it's my Animal Crossing dailies. And I think the cool thing about this game is that you don't get to the dailies really. Like, you can be doing the dailies as you progress, but, like, the dailies aren't really a thing until after you've done a lot of meat. Like, the game has 2, like, sub campaigns.
You're saying you've done a lot of meat?
The game has like 2 sub campaigns, like the first landmass and the second landmass. The first landmass, I find the campaign to be kind of lame. The second landmass was actually
for sure
pretty good. And those don't require you to engage with this daily returning to the game at all, basically. Like, you can just plow through those and explore the world and get like a good, I don't know, 40 hours out of it. If you really
it's also bizarre. Like, Jeff, you mentioned the next expansion is going to have like a maybe quote unquote non-critical location that we'll be going to, but I get the feeling that Liyue, the second location, which is the Chinese inspired location, was developed first because of the breadth of it, because of how many videos they put out there about their inspired designs, and obviously it's a Chinese company, so why not start where you're most familiar. And then the size of the first location you're at, Mondstadt, which is like maybe a third of it at best, and significantly less inspired visually, to have like less striking landscapes and features. Like, I just love going around that area. I love exploring it. I love finding things out.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, and the campaign, like you said too, the story, the sub story, or the stories that are associated in that area are just more
richer,
fleshed out. Yeah, there's something that you wouldn't expect in a free to play non MMO RPG. I think it's really cool. Like, I don't play a lot of Chinese games, so I don't know if this is something coming from, it's an Asian country in the same way that you're used to a Japanese mindset that comes through in some of video games that we've been playing for tens of years. It's cool kind of seeing a different lens and the things that are being chosen to focus on. Again, their slogan is like tech otakus who save the world, right? So there's definitely going to be some influence there. But I think it's better than any right that it has to be. Yeah. And it can be insidious, but I think that with the new patch, they're starting to mitigate some of those things. Yeah. And I'm hoping that they're going to go forward with that.
They've already started, as I understand, like the age-old gacha tradition of like milking really hard for like the first month players. Like, think of the way that like like a Call of Duty, right? Like, they sell their first edition or like whatever the hell things, like, maybe not Call of Duty, but like think of the way that like your average game makes a ton of money in the first day or the first like week. And I think it's kind of the same principle with gacha. Like, their
early adopters edition.
Yeah, like their monetization is at its most predatory during the first patch period, right? Like, and then they slowly kind of like fix all the shit that is like not broken but just kind of annoying. And they've already made some pretty substantial changes to some small things that kind of smooth things out a bit. And again, I've never felt any need to spend on like there are other like limited resources. Like, there's something that refills over time, which is like, this basically your energy system, which is like, boohoo, that shit sucks. The nice thing about the energy system is that it's used for progression materials only. So like, you don't need it to experience the plot. You don't need it to play the game. you need it if you want to like level up your characters to like higher levels and grow the world state and shit, but like that doesn't matter, and at no point have I felt any desire to spend money to refill that. Like if I were in that life or in that world, this game would be hell. Like
oh yeah.
But no, it's just like honestly I don't want to spend hours a day like doing these things that this resource uses. It's more just like, all right, log on when it's full again or when it's close to full, do all the stuff, and then wait a day and come back. Like it is not a, it's not like everything you do is tied to this resource. There is a number of things you can do, which again, as I said, are all progression based that are tied to the resource. But like world exploration has nothing to do with that resource. People complain endlessly about this resource, which I get if you just want to do all the things and play the game like literally 10 hours a day.
Max out everything as quickly as you can.
But I don't. Like, I've had days where I've played this game for many hours because just wandering around Liyue is really fun, and you can find lots of treasure chests, and you find like new ways to kind of solve puzzles and interact with the world. But during those marathon play sessions, I'm not spending money. Yeah. I don't know if this all makes sense to you, Jamie. It might make the game sound even more insidious.
No, I think it's weird. The sense that I'm getting listening to you guys discuss this game is that in some ways, with regards to the gacha stuff, it almost sounds like something new, because it really doesn't seem like it's pressuring you.
So let me give you a concrete example with that, Jamie, that you're picking up on that. And it still flummoxes me, and I text Jeff every once in a while. I'm like, I don't understand why it's not being worse about this. Because so a lot of my background in gacha is coming from the Dragalia Lost game, which I've pretty much I have stopped playing at this point because it's just an inferior product all around.
Think of all the poles you're wasting, Griff.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that in this game. In that game, so the thing that game does is, there's multiple land masses, there's multiple worlds, there's a main story that you're going to progress through, and each of those story areas are gated by an element. So you have your elemental hierarchy or cycle that so and so is stronger against so and so on and so forth. So you're dealing with a 4-person team in Dragalia. So what that means is you need to have 4 characters of every elemental type to build the best teams that have synergy, that then you can also swap things in and out to make
different
to make them better.
Reactions. Yeah, there's some stuff going on with the combat.
Well,
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's interesting here is like we've been saying, there's no real need to diversify your characters and buy all of the ones that are the highest level guys or the coolest ones, or kit out a team that is composed of X, Y, and Z. It's really just like, which ones do you like to play as at this point? Everything is going to synergize with each other as long as you understand what that synergy is and how to play those characters. Like I pulled a high level character and I just don't like how she plays, so I don't use her. I use somebody else instead. Whereas in Dragalia, like if I'm not subscribing to the meta list that is extremely well researched and defined, like I can't just pick up and play a character at a high level in that game that is not optimized to work with a team and with what the developers are throwing at people. So that's where I feel like the insidious nature of this game seems to be less pervasive, because it's not requiring me to build out my roster. Yeah. It's requiring me to play the game to get the items to increase my character's level, which requires me to play the game.
Honestly, there's like a disincentive to try to pull crazy characters, because just the act of building a character takes a while. So like, unless you really like a character, and in fact, if you really like a character, you're probably like deep in the systems and understand how to like maximize your chances of getting them. Like the game will just eventually give you stuff if you like play the lottery enough. And like you can, as a player that's not a big spender, like I was like, I want to get this guy, so I'm going to plan for that. And I planned for it, and I got him. And
yeah,
like, I wasn't guaranteed to get him, but I had a pretty good chance, and I did. And like I'm building this guy, but
Got it.
like I'm not gonna like try to get all the other guys. Like my strongest character is just a normal scrub dude. Like
Same here.
He's not. I mean, he's good. Like he's like highly ranked on the tiers or whatever. But like he's a normal scrub dude who you can easily get. I can't remember if he was freely given out. Was he?
He was not.
He was not.
He was purchasable during the first month.
Okay, you could buy him, yeah, with like another resource that you get from just doing polls. It's complicated.
It sounds like it's and it's not just cosmetic, because obviously the characters have different
Correct.
abilities, but it in some ways because of the ways that you guys are talking about it, it almost does sound cosmetic.
It kind
And
of is because
I'm
it's
wondering,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that you guys think that's due to like, you guys think we have like Fortnite and Overwatch to thank for, these types of games, going after that kind of money rather than, pay this to get the weapon you literally need. I feel like it's not doing that, and I'm wondering if it's because games like Fortnite pretty much just rely on.
I think it was like either a convergent evolution or like a side by side evolution towards the same end, right? Like it's kind of realizing that like it doesn't really matter. Like if all your content in the game is beatable with like the scrub tier, like 3 out of 5 star weapons,
The freebies that they give you,
and the free characters that they give you, they've like realized that it doesn't matter. Like if there's a better thing and you can get it by paying money, people will do it even if you don't need it. I think that's the reality. Like people will spend thousands of dollars to get the thing that has more stars and higher numbers, even if that thing does nothing. Like even if that thing functionally doesn't matter, it might even kind of cheese the game a little bit.
Yeah,
is the reality. And I think that's the kind of ethos that drives a lot of their money-making schemes, which again are disgusting and detestable because they prey upon people who have addictive personalities, but ultimately don't hurt that bad. As a player who again has spent $40, is not reaching for my wallet anytime soon, has a plan for how he intends to spend going forward, like a very clear, concrete plan. Like I don't need to spend right now, and I don't plan to for at least another 20 days. And even then I might not, right? Like it's again, it's I don't feel at all in this game's thrall. I don't feel like I have to spend or else I'm going to miss something. I'm just like, I've decided to spend this much and I'm okay with that. Yeah. So.
Well, I think an important distinction too is if we bring it back to the MMORPG, right? Like typically those games are things you pay a subscription model to. So when you play those games and you have your daily requirements and you have your, weekly resetting raids and things like that, like when you don't do those things, you feel like you are, well, there's the possibility, or maybe this is me when I was playing those games, I felt like I was losing money and opportunity by not engaging in those systems on a daily basis. With Genshin, since it is free to play, there's no model. If I slack off and I don't go in and do my dailies for a day or two, or if I don't optimize my run the most effectively as possible, I don't really feel like I'm at a loss. On the other hand, sometimes and again, I've said this in the past plenty of times, I think that there's, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with giving money to a gacha game if you enjoy it. Sure. I think that, if I'm enjoying this game and I want to play the roulette, I'll drop $40 and play it like I just did. And again, the things that I got from it weren't game-changing or life-changing or anything. I actually had better luck with doing stuff beforehand. But again, like, that's not to say, like, again, if I compare it back to Dragalia, like, I played that game for 2 years and spent close to, $200 on it just over time, because there would be moments that would come up that's like, hey, here's your free pick an adventure for $20. Okay, great. I'll spend $20 in this half a year in which I've been playing this game every single day. I think that there's I know, Jeff, you've alluded to it plenty of times, there's definitely a potential for predatory or nefarious targeting of people who have a mindset where they want to collect them all or get the most perfect item or something like that. So that, yeah, of course that's dangerous within the system. They surface all the rates. They do actually do a really good history of everything that you can view. Like Jeff said, you can optimize your track and kind of play the system to set yourself up for what would be a big cash payout.
Pity. So like if you pull a certain number of times, starting around like pull number 72, let's say, your chances 76. Your chances of getting the super rare thing start increasing dramatically until they hit 100%. So like the game does dole out enough free pulls that you can plan that if you know what you're doing.
But how does it know what the rare thing is for you?
So there are certain banners that give you a 50% chance of your first 5-star being this particular thing. And then if you
the highlighted character
fail,
or item,
the next time you get a 5-star, it'll be 100%. Now I think
but it's still not even a fail. It's like you're still gonna cash out and get a bomb ass thing. Yeah. It just won't be the thing that you know maybe the limited most best secret awesome item.
Now I got lucky and just got the thing I wanted. I think if I hadn't, I probably wouldn't have been able to get the thing I wanted as a like mostly free to play player. But again, you still get good stuff. Like you can easily amass the 70 some odd pulls you need to get like a 5-star just from playing the game. Like they're doled out all the time, and you're constantly, again, they want player engagement, so they're constantly throwing events your way that you know are varying,
give you that juice.
Yeah, varying degrees of fun. I actually kind of like the current. Griff wasn't super jazzed about it. I think it's a lot better than anything I've seen from them so far, and speaks to some fun stuff in the future. But
I really enjoyed they've recently with this last event injected a multiplayer option where you're playing co-op in like a wave-based battle system that has some minor mechanics that you know add some facets of strategy to it, but I have really loved playing that portion of it because running around with three other people who all have baller-ass characters and you all kind of know how they work together best and synergize, and you just kind of like when you wreck shop on a map and just really move together in a world where there's nobody uses chat, nobody's using text chat or voice chat. It's all just it's all just kind of like, hey, we all know what we need to do here. It's simple enough that we can just get this done, and when it's done really effectively, I really think it shines.
Also, when it's really horrible, I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Oh God, yeah.
Sometimes I'm probably the toxic gamer, but I'm like, you can't bring that guy. Like, you're gonna die. Like, I'll hop in the text chat and be like, you're gonna die, and then he dies, and I'm like, this is a waste of time. But for some reason, I'm kind of like, it was kind of charming, the waste of time.
It's still funny though, because it's like, even though it's a waste of time, and no group, I've never fully wiped. I've had a character die here and there, but
I've had some wipe. I've never wiped on my own world, but I've wiped in co-op challenges because I'm with.
Oh God, that sucks. But I fortunately never had that. It's more of just like, this took 2 minutes longer than it could have.
It's not a game, and it's like kind of funny in its weird way. I don't know. It's a fun game. It's is worth trying.
Yeah, and I'd say again, if you play the game and you're Jamie like you did, and you're disgusted by, or you're off put by kind of what it's putting as its first foot forward, try and give it one more chance. And if it still doesn't capture you in a way where you're like, I just want to spend an hour or two climbing these hills and collecting these things, then it's not going to be for you. And that's totally fine. No matter what it does, it's never going to, I think that's what it does best. And if that doesn't work for you, it's not going to work.
It definitely hit its nadir when I had to do the Panzer Dragoon bullet hell, which was like, just like Baby's first bullet hell. And then after that, it started to get better. So you'll know when you hit that point, Jamie, and you'll be like, oh, this game's terrible. What the hell? And then you get past that and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And then
when I got to that point, I was like, this is kind of neat. They're throwing something else in here. Only because in that, so part of the reason why I feel that was part of Dragalia Lost, like April Fool's Day events, is they'll make you play like left-right shooter in order to it's just like a fun shooter thing that then you're like, wow, that was a weird dream or something. And I was like, haha, interesting. Look at that. Everybody's doing it these days. So I thought it was kind of neat.
I think the game doesn't.
I feel.
Forward, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't. So I've tried it. I enjoyed the way. I like the way it looks. I like the way it felt to run around, and I liked the way that it was kind of serving up. This is how switching between characters works, and it was all cool. I was off put because I feel like they need to do a better job. Maybe it's just a translation thing at explaining the currency stuff up front, but I have no qualms against it, and it sounds like it's doing all that stuff reasonably well. But I feel bad because I'm not going to go back to it, not because I am not interested, but just because I have like 30 games to play on these new consoles. Let me tell you
something, Jamie.
But you can play a new one. Point. This one's new.
Let me tell you something, Jamie. The boob jiggle, off the chain. They just jiggle.
Boy.
The characters are just standing there, and their boobs are just jiggling around like fucking Jello pudding.
Oh, it's some
Those
DOA
are Gale
shit,
Force
man.
wins.
It's got some great music though. They had the London Philharmonic do their recording. I learned this from their YouTube channel.
Wow.
Huh. They have a very good YouTube channel. Their exploration video is delightful.
It's pretty good. I think the game is just very overwhelming out the gate, and you just kind of have to trust that it's not going to be as awful as it could be, and then it's okay. Honestly, like that's what I had to do.
Got it.
I hate to jump in, but I do actually have to take off pretty soon, so I'm wondering if we can call it here and any other big things that we want to touch on before we wind down for today.
I'm good.
I'm good too.
Nice. All right. Well, hey, it's been really.
I think there's.
Go ahead, Griff.
Well, I was going to say I think there was a bunch of things that we played and spoke about last time, which we will probably potentially speak about again when we get to more end of the year wrap up stuff.
Thinking,
But I think I'm feeling very happy to be able to talk about Genshin. Jamie, I'm sure you felt great about being able to also express your feelings about new consoles and everything that goes along with that.
I'm hopeful that I can express my feelings about the PS5 sometime soon. I'm definitely committed to looking for one now, which is, we're stepping in the direction of ownership. So,
Baby steps.
My favorite, just a movie that really demonstrates the psychiatric / therapeutic process. What about Bob?
That's a great one.
That's
great
Baby
one.
Steps.
That's Baby Steps.
All right, guys. Sounds like we got to call it. We'll be back again at some point talking about more games and definitely some sort of end of the year wrap up discussion.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. It's been a weird one. I feel like
My list is pretty sure. Actually, I think I have more games on old game list than I have on new game list.
There's some definite things. I feel like big surprise of the century. Roguelites and deck building games are going to be high on my list, but we'll see where we go from there. Anyway, guys, it's been super fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good to talk.
For sure.
We'll speak again. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been Boss Barrel Radio, and we'll talk to you in an unforeseen amount of time.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye.